Are you a fan of fairy tale retellings? Or are you a fan of science fiction? Or maybe you're interested in a dystopian world set in the future that is far, far away? If you are, then I think that this book is perfect for you. Hello, I'm Hannah. Today, I would like to talk about one of my favorite books, which is Cinder, written by Marissa Mayer. This book is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles series. It contains 392 pages and is first published in 2012 under Farewell and Friends. The story has introduced us to the main character, Cinder. After a fatal incident at 11, Cinder had undergone surgery that turned her into a cyborg, half human, half machine. She was adopted into a family and started learning about machinery. Everyone despised her because she was a cyborg, and her only friends were her youngest stepsister Peony and the family's android Aiko. A few years later, Cinder worked as a mechanic in New Beijing. She was treated like a maid around the house by her stepmother and must constantly work at her market stall and at home. A prince named Prince Kai visited a mechanic stall, hoping to find who is said to be the best mechanic in New Beijing. He met Cinder, who was not all that he was expecting. Well, little do they know, this little meeting would change the course of their lives and the whole universe. At the end of the book, the readers were revealed that Cinder was actually the lost princess of Luna, who is said to be dead in a house fire. For me, one of the main qualities of the book is definitely the characters and their relationships with each other. This is because the way that Marissa Mayer had described their feelings and emotions, I felt as if those were my own feelings, and it really made me emotional, especially when I read about Cinder. The story of Cinder was a bit tragic. After the death of her parents and after she became a cyborg, she was considered as a second-class citizen. And despite being treated like trash, she still worked hard at her market stall to provide for her whole family. I really love Cinder because of her perseverance and determination. Another amazing character from this story is Prince Kai. We will first introduce him at the very start of the book when his father had died shortly after being affected by the plague. After being crowned as emperor, we get to see him being pressured to be a good ruler and trying to make the best decision for the good of his people. Another character that I think worth mentioning is the antagonist of this story, Queen Lavanna Blackburn. Although we only got a brief glimpse of her, she has already proven herself to be a very unlikable character. The setting of the book is quite unique because this book was set in New Beijing, China, and not the US or the UK. Admittedly, there are a lot more diversity in books nowadays than there used to be, but we're still sorely lacking in books set in non-Western countries. The concept of the book was amazing because who wouldn't want to read about fairy tales in the future? But the way that Marissa Mayer had executed this story is well done and excellent. She had written such a thrilling and interesting story. There are some moral values that I learned after reading Cinder. First is perseverance. One of the main themes of Cinder is the idea of perseverance in the face of adversity. Cinder faces numerous obstacles throughout the story, including being a cyborg in a society that discriminates against her kind. However, she never gives up and continues to fight for what she believes in, even when the odds are against her. Second is compassion. Cinder shows compassion towards those who are marginalized, such as the android Aiko, and even towards her youngest stepsister Peony, who is kind to her despite the mistreatment that Cinder receives from her stepmother. And last but not least, justice. This book explores the concepts of justice and the importance of standing up for what is right. Cinder becomes involved in a political conspiracy that threatens the safety of her world, and she ultimately makes a stand to ensure that the right people are held accountable for their actions. In conclusion, Cinder is by far one of the most unique and intriguing stories that I've read in recent years. The only part that I don't like about the book is how predictable the plot twist is. I have known Cinder was the dead princess of Luna from the very beginning of the story. Overall, I would rate this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and I highly recommend it to others, especially if you have similar interests like mine and enjoy both science fiction and retelling, because this is a spectacular mashup of both. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you soon again. Goodbye.